Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day, Friday afternoon as we go into the weekend. And I thought this was a very interesting video we're going to do today. And I thought it was very important that we really look at the value of social media, some of the social media sites we're using, your value to social media sites, just how valuable you are and how much value you give over through your attention value. And we're here on a site called Arcania, and there's an article written by Nidhi Shah, and they're going through this article about the valuation of these companies and just how valuable an account is to them. And so it was written some time ago, but I thought it was very interesting just to give you an idea of how they value these social media and just how valuable accounts are to people um, when you register for these social media sites, how much value you are worth. So here it's saying here that you are worth $182 to Google, $158 to Facebook, and $733 to Amazon. So wow. And I guess that makes a lot of sense because a lot of times you come on Amazon, you're going to spend quite a bit of money. Whereas with maybe Google, maybe Facebook, it's generally these sites are free to us to use and post and but obviously data, advertising, finding out what consumers like, ad placement, these things equal buku bucks to these platforms, right? So another thing to keep in mind, because it is dated, this is the figures are quite, um, I guess you could say, inaccurate at this point in time, because as you can see here, it's saying Google is worth $364 billion. I think Google might be worth, $1 trillion or more now. And right here, it's saying Facebook is worth 227 billion dollars. But the last time I checked, Facebook was worth something like about $700 billion, right? Um, it gained a lot of value in 2020, right? So um, it says it's worth $158. And when you kind of add that on there, it's probably going to end up being, I think, more close to about $400 an account or something like that. Twitter is worth $81. Again, probably inaccurate unless the value of Twitter went down. Then they got LinkedIn. They're saying they're worth $69 per account. Yahoo's each user worth $70. Amazon, here's the mega, $733. And no telling what that is now. That might be like about $2,000 now. eBay, $474. So really, to kind of get an understanding of like why are your accounts worth so much to social media and why is social media so valuable. But it's really not that difficult. It's really not that hard to understand how this works. If you kind of think about, you look at something like attention value, like where you focus your attention, where you spend your time when you're on social media. You don't go very far before you see advertisements, people trying to sell you something. And these product placements, companies spend lots of money, millions of dollars. Some businesses per year spend over 50% of their revenues just on marketing and trying to get promotion, advertising in front of you. Um, and with this information, this data, that equals a lot of money. Now, because of this as well, a lot of people have started to opt for ideas like decentralized social media, private networks, um, social networks that don't have any advertising at all. And that's understandable. Ads can be annoying. Uh, but I think it's important to understand that when you're dealing with the value of a product, and when you're investing in a product or when you're looking to gain value from a product, that that doesn't always have to be a negative thing. I think one of the biggest issues with how many social media sites do business and how they make money, because to be fair, when you're dealing with something like social media, servers cost money, and so it's going to be necessary that these businesses, these private companies, somehow are able to be able to afford, to keep these things going. That's understandable. Um, but at the same time, I think what's happened, throughout, how we've dealt with or how they've dealt with us, many of these social media sites, it would seem that they haven't given us the options to basically be ad free. And in the case that they haven't offered us part of the revenue, any of the tech checks from our attention value. And so that's ushered into projects that have found a way to basically, create these options for the end user and serve whatever needs they have. I think overall the article is important. It just, if nothing else, uh, helping people to understand the tremendous value that comes from their participation, right, in these networks. Um, and depending on the design of the product and or the project, this could be quite useful. I think with a project like the Btcmyk.com, which is a universal basic income project. Universal basic income has become a hot topic. We liken the Bitcoin and YK project to Bitcoin meets universal basic income. We believe cryptocurrencies are the best way to facilitate universal basic income. If you don't know what universal basic income is, it's just basically the ideology that it is a right for citizens to receive enough compensation. It could be either through private networks, government channels, um, to basically take care of their basic needs, their bare bone basic needs, right? Um, and this isn't a new concept. Most advanced civilizations have always had some type of social programs. But if we go back all the way back to the Roman Empire, citizens were there were great public works done for the well-being of citizens. Land was given to citizens, and so many governments throughout the ages have had a variety of these programs, citizens dividends, right, or the proposed ideas. Um, so, uh, in these ideas, of course, you have to figure out how you're going to pay for them. And there are many ways to do that. Some people have proposed whether it be through some natural resource, it could be oil, whether it be through land, biorenewable resources, and in the case like the BitcoinNYK.com project, it's more about data being the oil of the 21st century, right? So that option to receive universal basic income through the transference of its value. Um, Kind of getting away from that a little bit and just looking at this overall through the scope of cryptocurrency. In cryptocurrency, we seem to have a tremendous problem in finding the value of our projects. And it causes many market spikes. It causes bubbles, and it could cause a very unhealthy economy, right? When you're just kind of purely speculating. But when you kind of have an idea what the value of your networks are, the users are, and so on and so forth, it becomes ever so difficult in order for that to occur, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that in models in cryptocurrency, especially social media sites, I kind of see this as a viable option in helping us to determine the value of these cryptocurrencies in a very healthy sense. Now, where I do side with many concerns in cryptocurrency, especially when it comes to dealing with social media, when it comes to dealing with data, right? KYC and so on and so forth, and who has this data. It's a very tough conversation, and it's a very understandable one, especially that many of us came to cryptocurrency to be in a sense of anonymity. But I think where it's kind of been a false narrative about cryptocurrency is that we are anonymous. There's a big difference between privacy and anonymity. What many in cryptocurrency are looking for is anonymity, not privacy. Privacy just means that we know you're over there, but we're just you're just kind of it's a big difference, meaning that something like Bitcoin and many other cryptocurrencies, they can still be tracked, they can still be found, right? So there isn't really a true sense of any type of identity protection like many people think, especially from your government. So I believe that's a kind of false narrative, and it's an inaccurate way to look at cryptocurrency. Um, what is happening is there seems to be a lot of regulatory enforcement happening to whether you're on exchanges or many of the projects now are going to be required through many international regulatory bodies to disclose some form of KYC. Mostly every exchange we use is KYC. We still use centralized exchanges at a rate of about 95%. So that means everybody's doing some form of KYC, right? I don't think KYC is so much the issue at this point in cryptocurrency, unless you're getting some type of privacy coin that's not available on exchanges, so on. It's still some difficulty and being anonymous, and for the most part, most cryptocurrency isn't doing that, right? It's probably only 5-10% of the entire space that's really doing its best to try to really be private. For the most part, you can be found, you can be tracked, and so you're not really doing that with cryptocurrency. That said, I think it brings on the more of the notion and more of the idea of not so much KYC being the problem, but in these networks, what is your value to them? We understand what your value is, uh, to them, for them, but what about for you? What is the value? What do you get? And, with projects like BitcoinMyk.com through Universal Basic Income, we're able to disperse this back to the community, right? And share in the benefits of these networks. And I think that's how it's going to work in the future with many social networks, that the users are going to share in the ownership of these networks and the value of them, and have great benefit of them. But where does BitcoinMyk.com fit into all this? So here's the deal. Facebook, based on some of the numbers we just gave, with Facebook probably being worth about $400 an account per account. Looking at a social network like BitcoinMyk.com, let me take a look at that real quick. All right, so we're here on the BitcoinMyk.com site. This is the Universal Basic Income project. Bitcoin meets Universal Basic Income in a sense. The Bitcoin MYK token. And you can do a variety of things here. But looking at a cryptocurrency social media site versus what would be a standard social media site. And I'm just going to let you all, I'm going to pose this question to you all. What do you think is more valuable, a Facebook account or a cryptocurrency social media account, in a financial product where people are buying cryptocurrencies or speculating on cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth? Now, my observation in this and my thoughts on this are financial projects, financial products are probably going to yield a great deal more value than as just a standard regular social media site. And I say that because you're probably going to have products related to these cryptocurrencies that data or offers rather that are going to be of a tremendous value. And so when we look at this, and people using these sites, promotions, advertising, and the like, when we take a look at this, it it makes me feel like, at least if I'm just going on pure feelings here, that a cryptocurrency social media site would be more valuable than a Facebook account. If a Facebook account is, let's say, worth $400, right, a $700 billion market cap, then if each account is going to be worth that to the Facebook network, then you're looking at about basically a great deal of money, right? But where's all the spending and buying going, and the value coming from, rather, right? So in looking at this, I'm going to go on a limb here and say these cryptocurrency sites that are trading all this Bitcoin value and a variety of things, and probably buying cryptocurrency projects and joint exchanges and paying exchange fees. And we're paying advertising for ads and offers and so on. That if we were to take our registered 9,225 registered users and let's just make it equal to Facebook. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking the accounts will be more valuable than Facebook accounts, but let's just say they're about the same. That would make this project right now, based on the numbers, around about $3.4 million, something like that, right? I'm sorry, more like a little bit over 36 million, $3.6 million, right? Over $3.6 million. Just now, if it became like Facebook, so then that's saying if we were to get like 2.5 billion users like Facebook, then would we be worth, with all this attention value on the BitcoinNYK.com site, would we be worth $700 billion or something like that? And, these are just some rough estimates based on what I'm looking at. But again, I'm thinking if it's a cryptocurrency social media site that can get a lot of people, they might say that, yeah, but cryptocurrency right now is still kind of feeling pretty niche. A lot of people not using it. And that is very true. However, when you couple that with universal basic income, probably going to get a lot of people. And generally what happens in cryptocurrency is people think of universal basic income and they generally go, oh, well, that's people coming in. They're going to get some free cryptocurrency. They're not going to really buy anything or something like that or another. But if we really look at what's going on with traditional social media sites, that is what's going on. People are coming in, they're not paying for accounts or anything like that. They're coming in, and they're coming in on a freemium service model, meaning there are no upfront costs to them. And they come in, and they're still value-wise worth a lot of money to these social media sites, as you got to see, right? And that's void of the market speculation and trading we do in cryptocurrency and many other things. So generally, when you're dealing with a financial product, the value of it goes up, and that's why my assumption is kind of like an account with them would be a little bit more valuable per account. But it's just something to think about, and I think it's just something that shows just how important it is getting these accounts, these social media accounts, getting these cryptocurrency wallets and accounts. I just did a review on the Pi network, and many of you know about the Pi network, already 10 million users. And what the Pi network is doing is a lot of the presumption is they're collecting birth certificates, driver's license, and Now, to be fair, I know a lot of people tend to think, oh, they don't like KYC. These people shouldn't have your data, and so on and so forth. But, just keep in mind that there are many regulations out here now, and that many projects aren't going to get very far without being in compliance with many of these regulations. And I can pretty much tell you that most are going to require some form of KYC because people in the governments now, the American government, and many governments are now basically really pushing that idea that money for terrorists are being laundered through many of these cryptocurrencies, which, to be honest and to be fair, we pretty much know that's what's happening. And so regulation is coming to cryptocurrency. You're not going to be able to get a lot done without it. And so I think it's same thing with like the privacy coins on exchanges. They got pulled off exchanges. So a lot of us are living in a fantasy world about hiding from governments, hiding, from, being anonymous and these things. That's just not reality, and that's just not what's going to happen. So, with that going on, many people are going to be, forced to be collecting at least some type of KYC. But with the Pi network, with the 10 million users already, and people trying to determine its value, that's why it's becoming such a very interesting topic about the Pi network is going to be worth quite a bit of money because with 10 million people, but it also depends on how you promote these products, right? Like a lot of people don't like ads, and a lot of people have shunned from ads and promotions and offers. And with the Btcmyk.com, site project, come on, we're providing universal basic income. We can ill afford not to have promotion ads, and our entire thing is about giving you the option and going, hey, um, you know, is it more valuable to you to share in the value of the network, get that tech check, get that universal basic income payment, or, is your privacy much more important? And that's understandable, whatever choices are being made there. We're just telling you that regulation's coming up and you're not going to be able to really hide much longer from any of these products. It's going to be very, very difficult to do that because we don't know if you're a terrorist. We don't know who you are. So you're going to have that problem. And I know a lot of people say, well, the government's, going to say that and do that. They try to keep us under control. Completely understand. But there's arguments on both sides here, and they're all pretty much valid arguments. So I think that the compromise here, or at least what's going to probably end up being ideal to a lot of people, is sharing that tech check, sharing that network distribution back to the people if they have to provide some type of data. And if that data is used, it's also like some of the networks, they don't do advertising, they don't do these things. So it's hard to say that they're worth so much per account if they're not doing those things, because there's no way the value is being built up in those projects, right? Or in the applications on these decentralized cryptocurrencies, as it were. So that's all very interesting stuff. I hope that gives you an idea about some of the value of these projects out here. Is BitcoinMyk.com worth that much? Well, I think BitcoinMyk.com is certainly going to grow in accounts. Universal basic income, very hot topic now. A lot of stuff going on in our world. A lot of people still not able to go to work yet. The economy being under the gun, still a lot of automation, job displacement. So there's going to be a lot of reasons, I think, for people to, want to keep registering, signing up for our site. And it certainly wouldn't surprise me if we see millions upon millions of people using BitcoinMyk.com sometime here in the near future. So just want to bring you that information. Tell me all what you think. How valuable do you think you are to the social media sites you're on? How much money have you spent? How many offers have you done? And what value do you think you've brought to these networks? But that's all I want to say in this video. If you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, as always, take care.